What is up, Nickel City Mafia? Man, week 6, Bills Chiefs. It does not get any better than this. I'm Mike Thornton. That is Jake Podger. We got a big show for you. We got an extended show. We got some extra time today, Jake. We don't have the games in the afternoon. So we're going to talk some history between the Chiefs and the Bills. And then we'll get into our show today about, our normal pregame show. But this should be fun. Go back in history, teach the youngins a little bit about this. It's becoming a rivalry, a big rivalry. But we'll go back in history and talk about some of the other big games between these two teams. And while we're doing that, I want you to watch. There's a pattern here. There's a pattern for these games that I've picked. Anyhow, Jake, how are you doing this morning, my friend?
I'm doing great, Mike. Never been better. I'm so excited to dethrone the Chiefs later on today. It's going to be a great day. We'll talk about how we do that later on. But first, got to do a little history. You got to teach the youngins about the sport. You got to teach them about the game, know where you came from, all that good stuff. So have at it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I see Red, White, and Bills out there. Good to see you out in the channel. And there's, of course, Big Al's already coming with. Big Al must have to leave. Is he doing some hunting right now? Does he have to get out there? He's already throwing out the game predictions early on.
No. Actually, I think he's going to tune in for the whole show. They just came back, Mike. They are so retired right now. They just came back from a 12-day getaway. They went to Madeira Beach in Florida, and then they went on a 5-day cruise. So now they're back. They're finally back home in Buffalo. Actually, a beautiful day here. It's 53 and sunny.
Nice.
Can't beat that. Beautiful fall day. So they're officially back, and he said he's going to tune in. So he wasn't able to the last 2 shows. So I think he's excited for it.
Good to see you back, Big Al. Bear with me. I'm a little tired. I was telling you that I went to a Kevin Hart show last night in San Diego. By the way, the Padres won. How
about the Padres?
San Diego's a buzz. Let me tell you, they were buzzing last night. But I went to a Kevin Hart show, got home a little late, and had to do a little more stuff, get ready for the show. And of course, our good friend over there, Red, White, and Bills, had a great show that he put out last night. So watch that as well. But good stuff. Good to see you. If you're in the channel, I only see a few, so I'll wait to say it. But if you're new to the channel, please give us a comment, like, and drop a nickel on that subscribe button. Come on, why would you not? Let's go. Let's get into a little history here, Jake. Now, you're a youngin'. I'm curious, how much do you know? How much have you read? If you watch highlights back in the 1960s, talk to me about that.
I mean, I know a whole lot about it. I mean, Albert Dubinion in that game had a 69-yard touchdown catch. That was the only score we put up that game. We lost 31-7. Actually, it was close at first, and then they just ran away with it. Lenny Dawson was so accurate that game. He's one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history, and so accurate, especially back in the 60s and 70s. Like Lenny Dawson, his completion percentage was right up there. He was in the 60s. I mean, that's like... So you say like a 60% passer completion percentage now, and it's like, oh, that's nothing. But back in the day, you got to understand, they really relied a lot on the big play deep ball. So the completion percentage were totally out of whack. I mean, you look at guys like Joe Namath, Terry Bradshaw. I mean, some of those guys, 49%, low 50s. So Lenny Dawson, man, he kind of set the standard. He was one of those guys who was able to just sort of dink and dunk and made a lot of big plays too. So I mean, those were some great matchups back in the day. This was for the first Super Bowl.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I don't know if a lot of people know this. I mean, we had another opportunity right here to get to a Super Bowl, and those dang Chiefs kept us away from it again. Interesting about this, again, I want you to pay close attention because there is a trend. So the Bills went to Kansas City Municipal Stadium to play the Chiefs earlier in the season, and they beat them. Right? They beat them. And here they are hosting the Chiefs at the Rock Pile, War Memorial Stadium. This was a little before my time. My dad actually told me stories of him jumping on the bus and going to the game and paying $0.25 to get on the bus. And I forget what the ticket prices were. They were absolutely ridiculous. They were
$25.
Definitely. What's that?
$25 because it's a championship game. Maybe not even. Let's say $10.
Yeah, I'm saying about $10 at the most. You mentioned Albert Dubinion. I mean, this guy, his nickname was Golden Wheels. And I tried to find a 40-yard time for him. They didn't really do that back then. But if they had a 40-yard time on Albert Dubinion, it is easily in the 4.3s. I really think that. In the description of the video, there's a highlight to this game right here, the 31-7 game. And it's kind of rough footage, but just gives you a nice, quick I think it's about a 3-minute video about this game. And like you said, it was 7-7 after the first quarter. We had already beat him earlier in the season. Expectations were high. And of course, after the first quarter, it turned around. But going into the halftime, the Bills were on the move, and Jack Kemp threw a big interception near the goal line, and that was returned. I forget, not for a touchdown, but it was returned long enough for KC to get a field goal out of it. But so interesting about Dawson, Jake, he was sacked 9 times in that game. 9 times. If a quarterback goes down 9 times, you're thinking there's no way that team's winning, right? Because the defense is just destroying them.
Right.
But
you would think so.
Yeah, but Kemp threw for 2 interceptions. Kemp was also sacked 4 times. So big game. I mean, obviously, another guy you've probably never heard about is your guy, Jake, Robbie Burnett. Do you know who Robbie Burnett was? He was a running back.
I don't know a whole lot about him. Yeah, I don't know a ton about him. I know the name, but that's about it. That's about as far as it goes there. I know we had Ray Carlton was on that team too. Me being a big fullback guy, got to know who that is. So
yeah. So Bobby Burnett was their running back, and he had 6 catches for 127 yards. He was a big guy. He was like 6'3", 210 pounds. Unfortunately, his career was cut short after I think about 3 seasons. He had a knee injury, and he was done. But like I said, it's just great to kind of go look back. And Lenny Dawson, like you said, he was a fantastic quarterback. Now, they went on to play Green Bay, and it's probably good that Buffalo didn't go because nobody was going to beat Green Bay in the Super Bowl. That was just they were a monster back then, right? And we would have had 5 Super Bowl losses probably if we had.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
So it's probably good that we didn't go there. Let me take this off the screen real quick. So, again, remember, we beat them earlier in the season. They beat us. And this is the one game where the away team of the games that I'm going to show you, this is the first game that the away team actually won in the playoffs. But let's move on to another important game here. Okay, this is the divisional playoffs in 1991 season. The Bills at home put a beat down on the Chiefs, 37-14. And again, I want to say this. The Bills had visited Arrowhead Stadium now because Arrowhead Stadium was built in 72. They used to play at, Municipal Stadium.
Yep.
And in 72, so right around the same time that Rich Stadium was built, Arrowhead was also
I think
built.
it was pretty much the same year, right?
Yeah,
around
pretty
there.
much right around.
Yeah.
And so they had went to Arrowhead and they had gotten beat that season, right? They had beaten, it was... trying to see, Steve DeBerg was the quarterback back then for the Chiefs.
Steve DeBerg, so here's a fun stat. So Steve DeBerg Tom Brady just broke his record for being the oldest quarterback to start in an NFL game. Steve DeBerg started a game in 1998 at age 44 for the Falcons. How about that?
Wow.
Isn't that wild? He played in the
crazy.
league for 21 seasons from 78 to 98. I mean, that's just that's unheard of, I mean, especially back in the day when quarterbacks were allowed to get hit, that guy stood the test of time right there. And he's kind of like a journeyman. He was up and down. He started a little bit, he played with Tampa for a hot second. He was pretty good there. San Fran and Denver and a couple other teams, Atlanta, as I mentioned, and then KC. He had a couple stints there. He had, I think, a few years there, but he got knocked out of that game, didn't he?
Yes. Not in the playoff game, he did, yes.
Yeah, playoff game.
Not in the first game. So in the first game when they played him, Arrowhead, the Chiefs put the beat down on the Bills. It was 33-6. DeBerg had a good game. And then, yes, in this playoff game, DeBerg was knocked out. You're going to see a theme here. We've knocked out a few big quarterbacks in these big games. And you're right. After I was looking at some footage, some clips of this old school football, and I watched these games, by the way, but can't remember everything. But watching it, I'm like, oh, my God, they were allowing these quarterbacks to get hit
Everything's a flag.
well after they threw the ball. And it was no penalties. There was no penalties at all. And yeah, he was knocked out of the game by Cornelius Bennett. Something he did to his shoulder. So he hit him. It looked like Steve DeBerg was going to be able to continue. Then a play later, I think Bennett hit him again. And, you saw DeBerg kind of like walking to the sideline. He's trying to throw, use his throwing motion. He's like, I can't do it. So they had to bring in the reliever there. And the reliever was Mark Blasick. Or Vlasic, however you want to pronounce it.
Look at me.
Look
How
at you
did
with
I?
the name. Is that a Polish name? It sounds like a Polish name to me.
Yeah, Vlasic. That's how I
Yeah,
pronounce it. At least I'm
yeah.
Polish, but I'm not a good Polish guy. I mean,
I
I'm
don't know if
very
he's
Polak,
Polish,
and I have a lot of trinkets and all that. But I'm not like I'm not part of the family, if you will.
well, anyhow, when he went out of the game, it was a game changer in this game. That's why the Bills whooped him because Vlasic threw 4 interceptions that game. He did throw 1 touchdown, but 4 interceptions. And again, the Bills go on to victory here. And remember, we had lost to the Chiefs earlier. We get them at home this time, and we put up the big W. And of course, our first Super Bowl appearance ever, right here, this season. It was the actual 1990 season and 91 division. Actually, no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Everything I'm showing here
That was
is
the
for this
second, right?
season. Yes, this is the second
Yeah.
Super Bowl. But yeah, and I look at the numbers there, and all these big games. I'm looking at Jim Kelly. He threw for 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he threw
A lot of
three
picks.
3 interceptions that game.
Yeah.
I mean, but Thurman did run for 100 yards. Man, how nice would it be to have a 100-yard rusher
Gosh,
again?
I know. Different offense though too. You got to remember. I think right
yeah.
now it's just so different. But Thurm showed up big in both of these games that we're going to mention here. So yeah, I mean he was unbelievable. And I think Kenny Davis too did pretty well too. He had a pretty good game this one too, right? Like
Yeah,
75 or
I,
something like that.
I
in the
don't
cutter?
have his stats, but yes, he did. So let's move on to the next big one here.
By the way, I still wasn't born in 91, Mike. I don't mean to make you feel old, but I was born in 93, but it was after this. Or no, it was. No, I'm sorry. I was 1 year old almost at this point.
all right, so you should remember this. There's no reason you shouldn't remember.
I should
this at
remember
all.
this. I was in the womb at least,
And I know your mom and dad were watching these games, so
Oh, yeah.
obviously, they say that you can, when you read to your baby when they're in the womb, they can hear it. So I'm
That's right.
assuming you picked up a lot of that.
Oh yeah, so much. So much.
So this was a big game. Again, Bills win 30-13. Look who's at quarterback there, Jake. Look who's at quarterback.
Joe Montana.
No other than Joe Montana. Now, Joe Montana played 2 years for the Chiefs. This was his first year. And again, he was traded to the Chiefs after he missed the 1991 season. And there's a little interesting fact about Montana. So in our first Super Bowl run in 1990, the 1990 season, Montana was in the NFC Championship game against the Giants. Right? That team had Montana. That team had Jerry Rice. And I remember pulling for the Giants that whole game. I'm like, there's no way. I knew my Bills were going to get to the Super Bowl. Just had that feeling.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't want them to face Montana and Rice. No way, right?
Right.
And as it worked out, the Giants pulled this game off at the very end on a 42-yard field goal to win this game. And, of course, we know the history there. They go on to the Super Bowl, and Bill Belichick comes up with some amazing defensive scheme. Basically, just beat the crap out of our receivers going over the middle. And but, yes, so Montana could have seen us in that first Super Bowl. And then he got traded this season because it was Steve Young time. Montana had missed, basically, he got injured in that NFC Championship game. I think it was an elbow injury. So he missed the whole season in 91. And then in 92, he played maybe, I think it was not even one complete game. And it was Steve Young time. They were ready to move on. And then Montana was the one, or at least from what I read, he was kind of forcing the trade. So he was traded here to the Chiefs, playing one of the best in Buffalo in the AFC Championship game, 1993. And again, he was knocked out of this game. He was concussed. And I watched that play where he was concussed, and it was another one of those, like, that would have been flagged 100% of the time for unnecessary roughness against the quarterback. It was crazy to see. I mean, you're right. You mentioned Steve DeBerg. It is crazy to think he played that long with the rules back then. It's
insane.
It's even incredible. I mean, you got to give Brady a lot of credit, too, because he played in his early days with these rules.
Right.
So very, very impressive. So in that game, it was cold. It was cold in that game. I was worried going into it. Of course, you're playing Joe Montana, right? 4-time Super Bowl. I think he was a 4-time Super Bowl MVP, if I remember correctly. If not,
Jerry won. I know Jerry was one of them, I believe, and Joe had won. I think he had at least two or three. I want to say it was 81 against the Bengals, 89 against the Bengals. The Broncos won in, what was it, 86, I want to say. And then Jerry Rice, maybe that was the one against, no, Steve Young won the MVP that one. He threw like 6 or 7 touchdowns against the Chargers. That was nuts.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
But Montana has 4 Super Bowls. I don't know how many MVPs he had as far as Super Bowl MVPs, but we know he had MVPs as well in the regular season.
Oh, and the Dolphins, too. I forgot. They beat the Dolphins, too, in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so fantastic quarterback. Yeah. I was definitely worried, and then we knocked them out, and that game was never the same. They actually had, let's see, who did they have back then? I have
Dave Craig.
Yes.
Great name. He was actually a pretty good quarterback, too. He was a Pro Bowler, Mike. He was not bad at all, but he was still very young at this point into his career. He was also with Seattle, too, I think, before this. Yeah. They used to be in the AFC West, and then they switched over. Now they're in the NFC West, so.
Now, Jake, if you're not noticing the trend yet, hopefully the listeners are seeing this, right? We play the team earlier in the year, beat them. We lose to them. And then we get another chance in the playoff game, and we redeem ourselves with a big win here. So up until now, what have we talked about? 3 games already, and all 3 games, the Bills had either went to Municipal Stadium and beat the Chiefs and lost in the AFL Championship. They went to Arrowhead in 91 and lost to the Chiefs there, but won in the divisional round. And here we are in the AFC Championship game for the 1993 season. We go to Arrowhead again earlier in the season, lose pretty handily as well, and then we come back and win. So kind of a pattern here, kind of a pattern that we've seen over the past few years as well.
Yeah, so it's crazy to see.
So let's move forward here. Bills 24, Chiefs 38. Heartbreaker here, the 2020 AFC Championship game. We all remember this. But you know what, Jake? Looking back, the Chiefs were just so damn good this year.
Yeah, this score is actually doing the Bills justice. I mean, we got totally outplayed. Travis Kelce caught like 13 passes or something this game for over 100-something yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he absolutely killed us in this game. It was nuts.
Yeah, Kelce had 13 receptions for 118. Tyreek Hill had 9 receptions for 172 yards.
170. God.
Yeah. Mahomes threw for 325, 3 touchdowns, and was only sacked once for a passing rate of 127.6. But, I mean, this is the one trend. I mean, if we look back now, the 4th game here, where they played us during the regular season as well, and they beat us. They were just the better team. This is the one season, I believe, they came to Buffalo during the regular season and beat us. Yes, they beat us 26-17 earlier that year. And, of course, we go to Arrowhead, and they take us down. And like you said, it was interesting. We did get off to a 9-0 lead after the first quarter.
So weird.
Bills Mafia, Bills fans, we're going nuts. It's 9-0 after the first quarter, and they flipped the switch like they're known to do. And then there's that picture of Diggs, heartbreaking right there. But they were clearly the better team. I can say that. There was a big gap in 2020, and that gap was closed last year. It was closed big time. The Chiefs had the gap 2 years ago. I think the gap was pretty much closed completely last year. And we'll talk about the game real quick.
And then to add insult to injury, by the way, this year we had to watch Pat Mahomes go off against Tom Brady. And it's like, who do you root for? The Chiefs just beat us in the AFC Championship, robbing us of a Super Bowl. But then we got to look at Tom Brady win another one with the Bucs. It's just, that was torture as a Bills fan for sure.
Yeah, definitely agree. And then, of course, last year. The 13-second game, which we've all been having to relive all week. That's all the media's been playing. All the media's been talking about. I'm driving to work. I had to going to work this week, and I'm trying to find Bills shows, and every one of them was going through this, that final 2 minutes where all the fireworks happened, and it gave me chills, kind of made me sad again. I'm like, damn, I didn't like hearing it, but it also gave me goosebumps. It was an amazing, amazing game, probably the best playoff game that we may ever see in our lifetime. It was that good. But we should have won, right? We should have won that game. So this is the year where we closed the gap. We beat them in Arrowhead earlier in the season pretty handily. What was that score there? I think I have it. Let's
20,
see.
Or it was 38-20, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't have that score. But the Chiefs at that point, when we beat them, were 2-3. We were 4-1 at that point. So we're like, all right, bye-bye, Chiefs. You're in our rearview mirror. However, the Bills lost. What did I have? The Bills lost five of their next 8 games, which is insane. We lost 5 of our next 8, and then we finished with our 4. To finish off the season, we won 4 in a row to get in as the top seed in the AFC East. But we had surrendered any chance of getting the top seed in the AFC altogether because we really struggled in that middle half of the season. 5 out of 8, Jake. You don't think a Buffalo Bills team would play 8 games and lose 5, especially last year's team. Right.
And some of those losses too, you think about like the Jacksonville loss that really what really set us apart after that was when we kind of rallied against Tampa and sort of got on that run. But up until that point, I mean, it was scary, Mike. I mean, there were times where I think a lot of people felt that this season was kind of in the dumpster for the Bills. And man, I mean, just the resilience by us to come back and continue winning. And we went on a big win streak, and that really started us all off. But yeah, amazing that we were able to get here. And as Tom says, hey, I totally agree. He said a loss by 13 seconds is better than a blowout. And that shows improvement in itself because the year before got absolutely smoked by them in the AFC Championship. So third time's a charm, baby.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, that gap had completely closed. Now I think the gap has swung. I really do. And we'll talk about that later in our when we give our predictions. But I now think the Bills have the lead. I think the Chiefs are trying to close the gap on us. And again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But just in that game, again, I want to remind you that Tyreek Hill had 150 yards receiving on 11 receptions in that game, including that 64-yard touchdown where it was just dumped the ball to him on, I think it was a quick crossing pattern, short crossing pattern, and he took it to the house there. And again, I'm gonna use this later on when I give my prediction because I've just been hearing some things. I listened to the other side. I listened to some podcasts from the Chiefs side of things, and the things they're saying, I'm just insulting my intelligence. And I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into that when we give our prediction. But yeah, fantastic game. And it's funny when you hear the Bills. What have the Bills been saying when they've been asked about this? They are, and both sides, it's no different than any other game. It's important because it's the next game on the schedule. It's the next game up. But Jake, you tell me, you're a competitive guy. I'm a competitive guy.
Yeah.
Deep down, what would you really want to say? Let's say McDermott wasn't telling you what you had to say, or whoever's telling him. And if you're asked this question by a reporter, Jake, you played last year. What does this game mean for you? What are you going to say?
We want to beat the shit out of them. I'm sorry, pardon my French, but my God, are you serious? And you want to win every game, Mike, but there are some games that are more meaningful than others. This game has a lot riding on its shoulders, right? So you look at the last 4 really meaningful games that we played against the Chiefs, just mentioning the games that we mentioned here. Mm-hmm. All the wins for the winning team have been at home. So this essentially could be, whoever wins this could get home field advantage in the playoffs. It could be a thing where down the line, hey, the Bills have 13 wins, the Chiefs have 12. And because the Bills win this game, or if they even have the same amount of wins, maybe they have a similar divisional record or whatever it may be. And then you do strength of schedule or head to head. And then the Bills have this win. So it puts them in the first seed compared to the second seed or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a lot more riding on this than a lot of people think. Also, on top of that, as a competitor, you cannot tell me that this doesn't mean more just because of the fact that, hey, there's a little more added in there. Also, you talk about Sean McDermott and Andy Reid's history. Sean McDermott was a coach on Andy Reid's staff back in the day, and you can't tell me that he wouldn't love to beat Andy Reid, as many times as possible. I don't care if it's regular season, playoffs, whatever it may be. It's important, and I think this game is, obviously it's been hyped up, and it's a great rivalry, and I'm super pumped for it.
Yeah, it's... Ooh, I like you said, if I'm so competitive, I just can't even fathom them just kind of keeping a straight face. They do it with a straight face, Jake, and I'm waiting for them to smile and laugh. And my goodness, they are well trained on what to say.
They're so well coached up on that. I mean, really, all the players have been very tied up about it, and they're just keeping their head down, which is a good thing because you don't want to get overly. Confidence is a good thing. And I think our players do have that confidence. Josh has swag. He has confidence. He knows what he knows he's a hell of a player and that he can change a game in a matter of minutes or seconds, I should say. And I think they've just really, this whole year, they've done a really good job of just keeping their head down and not taking anything for granted.
Yeah, this is a game we'll we'll always remember. I mean, this is a game, as much as it hurts, we'll always remember. We'll always remember all the texts. I'm sure all of us have the same story. All our friends
Yeah.
texting us, congratulations, congratulations. And then a couple minutes later, oh my God, Mike, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, like just flooding me with texts. I still remember late at night saying, I got to go for a walk, Jonah, and my little boy saying, I'm going with you, Dad. I'm going with you. I got your back.
The only thing that brought me, some, I guess, peace was just holding my baby.
Yeah.
And my wife just said, just hold your baby. Just like sit there and just hold her and just let her like calm me down. So I was holding her. And of course I'm listening to my cousin on WGR do the post game, and he's trying to counsel everyone. He did a really good job, by the way. So shout out to Nate. You did awesome on that. But yeah, I mean, I'll never forget it. I will never forget it. That is one of the moments like in sporting history for me, like Bills history, that it's always going to sting no matter what.
Yeah, so we're kind of done with the games. We're going to get into our pregame show, but I just want to, the trend that I was trying to get through to everybody here is that, yes, we feel this is the most important game. It is, obviously it is. This could give us an edge, but we saw last year, we thought the same thing. What I'm trying to say is it's not the end of the world if we lose this one. It's not the end of the world. I think we're going to win, and you'll see that in my prediction. But if we don't, I want to say to others, it's really who wins in that playoff game. We've seen it now 5 times. All 5 of these games, a team went to the opposing team, except for 2020. 2020 was the only time that a team swept both games. They played them in the regular season, beat them, and that was the Chiefs. They played the Bills, and then they beat us in the playoffs. But every other game, the team lost initially in the regular season, and then at home came back and won now, except for that 66 season where the Bills were at home and actually lost. So keep that in mind.
So are you saying we want to lose, Mike?
I know that the pattern's showing this, right? But no,
right?
what I'm just saying is, yes, this is important, but there'll be a chance for redemption in the playoffs. And basically, I know we're going to have to break pattern here a little bit and kind of do what the Chiefs did in 2020. Just sweep them. And I think we can do that very easily. And you'll see that when I talk about it. So, that's a lot to talk about. That was a lot of good stuff.
We're one beer in now.
We're one beer in. Let's go. Tom, that playoff game generated over 3,000 in donations within 3 days.
That's pretty good.
Where were the donations
did Bills fans donate to one of the Chiefs Players Foundation? Was it Pat Mahomes or something like that? Or I can't remember what that was, Tom. Fill me in on that. I'm not recalling what that was, but still, it doesn't surprise me. Like, there's something to be said. I feel like we always channel a negative into a positive somehow, our fan base, and they always find a way to do it. So that's amazing. I mean, whatever it was, I can't really remember. I do, maybe I'm recalling. Yeah, I don't know. Fill me in on that, Tom. But anyways. We're so good at doing that, our fan base. Seriously.
Yeah, it is. Let's talk about some big news. Big news this week. We're talking about the news of Trey White. Talk to me, Jake, about the news this week.
Yeah, I mean, first off, he returns to practice, and it's like comes as a shocker almost, right? You think that maybe there's a shot at him playing this week, but they sort of they mentioned, obviously he's just, taking steps forward. He's getting ready. He's getting excited to come back and play. They're working him into it a little bit. And, we'll see what happens as they progress. It's nice because we have a bye week after this too, and we're playing Green Bay the following week. So that's something to rest up for sure. But then we had some other guys return. I mean, we have Jordan Poyer that's officially in, Tremaine Edmonds that's officially in. We look like, finally, it's a healthy team, and I'm not sure about Jordan Phillips. I think he's still listed as questionable. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll get into the injury report in a second.
Okay. Yeah. So, but the biggest news, obviously, Trey White returning to practice. I mean, that's huge. Absolutely huge.
Now, once they're activated, once they're pulled off the IR, they have 3 weeks. 3 weeks to actually get activated for a game. So, plenty of time. And you could see him Green Bay. You could, but he has until after Green Bay to actually be activated. So, it'll be interesting to see how he progresses. The way our secondary has been playing and the way Green Bay's been looking, I don't know if I'd hurry him back, but it'll be interesting to see. Anyhow, great news there. Some other good news for you. I remember last week you were surprised that Brandon Bryant was released. And I don't know,
here we go.
Was some crazy magic going on. I don't know what they're doing here, shuffling things around, but he was signed. He was signed to the active roster, a 2-year deal. So
Yeah.
Brandon Bryant is back with the team. He was released 3 days prior. Again, I don't understand all the what was going
I
on
think I
there.
have a reasoning for that.
Go
So
ahead.
essentially, we sat some guys because we felt that we were going to roll the Steelers. And obviously, you don't take games for granted, but I think deep down you sort of know, like, hey, this is, this opponent isn't the Kansas City Chiefs. This opponent isn't the Green Bay Packers, or whatever it is, So I think they felt like, first off, with Brandon Bryant, he played so well against Baltimore. And that's why I was so taken aback. I'm like, this guy made some plays. I mean, he was making other guys look good, but he did the dirty work. He took on
Yeah.
3 blockers in that one play against the Ravens, helping Matt Milano make a stop for a loss. And, you know, I'm really happy for him. And I think the reason why they cut him is, not only to bring some other guys up, they signed Justin Zimmer also to the practice squad too. Along with, I know they cut Prince Emili, but they brought CJ Brewer. Was he back or was it someone else? I can't
They
remember
brought
the other
back
guy.
Jamarcus Ingram was signed back to
Jamarcus
the
Ingram.
practice
Yep.
squad.
Okay.
Keyshawn Johnson.
The other, yeah,
Not
not
the
the Keyshawn,
Yeah.
right? Not that Keyshawn, different Keyshawn. But yes, but anyways, no, the Brandon Bryant thing. I think it may be a matter of how his contract is structured too. So if you sign him to the active roster, there's different guarantees in there, and there's a lot of different things money wise too. So I trust whatever Brandon Beane's doing.
Yeah.
I think the guy's an absolute wizard. So that's super awesome. I'm stoked to hear that because I've been very impressed with how he's played this year.
Yeah, I wish I'm gonna have to dig deeper. I was trying to find out what the benefit was of releasing him. He had to clear waivers, and they re-sign him
Yeah.
versus signing him immediately. So I don't know.
And you got to think too, when they do cut a guy and they have the intent to re-sign him, they probably mention that. That's something they definitely go over with the player, just saying, "Hey, we're going to cut you, but just so you know, we're going to bring you back. So don't get too, don't get too comfortable on that couch."
Yeah, I do want to say this was Tom's after we asked him questions. Both teams' charities did extremely well, especially O'Shea's. I'm not familiar.
O'Shea's. Yeah. So
O'Shea's?
that's the O'Shea's Children's Hospital, Mike. That's a children's hospital in Buffalo. And the Patricia Allen Fund is Josh Allen. That's his grandma.
Nice.
That's the whole thing that we donated to.
Okay,
So
yes,
that's pretty cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, I did mention that Jamarcus Ingram was signed back to the practice squad. Keyshawn Johnson, not the Keyshawn that you know from many years ago.
Yeah.
We also released a wide receiver, Jaquari Robertson, from the practice squad, and we signed a safety, Jared Madem, to the practice squad. So interesting stuff there. You talked about the injuries. Yes, things are looking better. Christian Benford, this was a surprise to me. He's actually been given the green light to go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He was 3 to 6 weeks with that fractured hand. He should be back in the lineup. That just tells me that they want everybody for this game. That's how important it is.
Yeah,
And,
if you can't have Trey White, you may as well play the 6th-round rookie. But don't get it twisted. This 6th-round rookie has looked like a professional. I mean, he looks legit as it gets. So that is awesome news. I'm wondering if he'll play with a club on his hand or something like that.
Yeah,
but,
I'm thinking he's going to have to. I mean,
Yeah.
being that was only, it's been 3 weeks, right? They were saying 3 to 6 weeks. Anyone who's had a fractured hand or arm, I was expecting at least 4 or 5 weeks, but interesting. But good to have him back. He's been stellar. 6th-round pick this year. Rookie for us. Actually started over our 1st-round pick in game 1, but they've been rotating. So good, so good.
That's
and then,
awesome.
of course, Jordan Poyer. Great news there. He's ready to go. He's been was a full practice. Had some ribs bothering him. That's why he missed last week, but he's ready to go. Trey Edmonds is a go. He was out last week with a hammy. They rested him, so he's ready to go. Dawson Knox been struggling with a foot all week. He actually, this week, they said foot and hamstring. So, but he's going to be in that game, ready to go. Jordan Phillips, like you mentioned, still questionable. Here's one that's a little concerning, I'm sure, for you.
Yeah.
Tywan Jones is questionable.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, Mike. So we're talking about Tywan Jones. So to start the game last week, he returned the opening kickoff and, had some trouble fielding it, got to the 2-yard line. Luckily, Josh threw it 98 yards downfield to Gabe Davis, But it'll be nice to have, hopefully, Isaiah McKenzie back and him back there catching kicks.
Yeah, and so Tom says, let's talk about this a little bit because Knox has been a little quiet, but I think there's a reason for that. I think he's been in there doing a lot of blocking, pass protection, run blocking, and maybe the foot's been bothering him because he really hasn't been involved too much in the passing game. Do you expect that to change this today?
I do a little bit. So last year during the season, I don't know if you remember, he had like 3 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he went off against the Chiefs last year. So I definitely think that there's a hole there, especially with them missing Tyrann Mathieu. Now, Justin Reed is a stud. He's one of the better safeties in the league. But especially with these young corners and, I feel like for him, it could be a potential to have a big game, especially if they're going to be doubling Stephon Diggs or whoever it may be. I mean, someone's going to go off. Someone's bound to go off just with how young that secondary is. I feel like we're going to take full advantage of it. And I know we're talking young secondaries, Mike, but the Bills are very, very, this is rare to see a young secondary play as well as the Bills have. I think the Chiefs are going to be missing some of their guys today. So, it'll be, I think for him, it'll be a nice bounce back game.
Yeah. And then it'd be nice to have Phillips in there. I really wish we have a full everyone ready, available for this game. But he came back last week. Might have been a little too early. Pulled up with a hammy again, and we'll see if we see him out there. But Oliver is a go, so that's great. Tim Settle,
that's huge.
Daquan Jones, they are a go. Much different team, much different interior than the Chiefs saw last year. So excited about this.
I didn't see that. Deshaun, is Justin Reed? Did they say he's out?
Unless that's current news, I did not see that.
Yeah, I didn't see that. But Rashad Fenton is. You're right,
Fenton's
Sean,
out.
on that.
Yeah,
he's definitely out, which is huge. Yeah. So, and they have Joshua Williams, and then they have Jalen Watson on the other side, who's a 7th-round pick. Now, you got to remember, a couple weeks ago, it was actually week 1, right? Week 2 against the Chargers. It was on Prime. On that Prime Video, the first initial broadcast, he takes that pick 6 back to the house. So Jalen Watson, young, fast kid, but 7th-round pick. Let's take advantage of it.
Kumaro is still out with a high ankle sprain. It's been out for a few weeks now. He's still out. More of a huge hit to our special teams, and again, that's what scares me a little bit with Tywan Jones potentially being out there, but he is questionable. And then over on the Chiefs side, Brian Cook is out with a concussion. Rashad Fenton that we just talked about, he is out with a hamstring. Tershawn Wharton actually has been put on IR now. He's not a starter there. And then Trent McDuffie, I wanted to put him on there. He was on IR. They thought he would be brought back and potentially play this game. They've changed their mind, and they're keeping him on IR for another week. So what does that mean? I think you just mentioned it. They're going to be starting two rookie corners. Let's see.
2 rookie corners. Now they still have Julius Sneed in the slot corner position, that nickel corner spot. Yeah. He's pretty good. I like that kid a lot. And then they still have Justin Reed, of course, in the back there at safety, and Juan Thornhill, who's solid as well. But those 2 rookie corners, I'll tell you what, I think we got to test them as much as possible today.
So you got Joshua Williams, who was a 4th-round pick in this year, and then you got Jalen Watson, who was a 7th-round pick. So kind of similar to us. We got Christian Benford, who was a 6th-round pick starting for us. Dane Jackson will be out there. It'll actually be probably Dane and Kyer, and I'm sure they're going to work Benford, and if Benford can actually play, because I'm a little concerned about Benford if he is wearing the club. Obviously, it's very difficult to make any type of interceptions with that. So it'll be interesting how they use him. Maybe on special teams. I don't know. They did play him on special teams a little bit when he got injured a few weeks back.
Well, I feel like you activate a guy like that, you expect him to come in and play. You know what I mean, Mike? I mean, I feel like for him, they're going to just tape it up, put a club on his hand, and say, get the hell out there, So
old school, baby. Old school.
That's right.
Just get back out there. Yeah, it just the only concern like I said, try to catch a football with that. So
right, yeah. No, it's not easy unless you're just one-handed Odell in it all day long, I mean, that's kind of what you got to hope for there.
Yeah, so there you go. Both sides, again, with some injuries, we're getting healthy, which is fantastic. And, of course, this secondary, big opportunity for us, big opportunity. All right, let's get into the weather report. There's not much weather. This is perfect weather. We should see some points put on the board. Jake, I'm so tired of watching primetime football on Thursday night, these last 2 Thursday nights.
Oh, it's been bad.
Mean, it's been painful. Yes, I watch it, but it's like, oh my God, this is horrible. I can't wait to see our Bills back out there, and the Chiefs putting up serious numbers. I mean, have you been shocked by, I don't know, it's bad football? What's going on?
Well, I mean, so this past week you had the Commanders and Bears, so you can't really be expecting much out of those 2 teams. The previous week, the Broncos and Colts, that looked like a pretty good matchup to me on paper, but didn't even manage to put up a freaking touchdown. I mean, it's just insane to me. I feel bad for Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. I mean, here you are, you got Prime Video going all in. You bring in these two premier broadcasters, and they can't even get a good game on the schedule. I mean, really, all the games, even that Browns Steelers game, I mean, it was good. It came down the wire and everything, but I think really the only good game thus far has been that Chiefs Chargers game on Prime Video. And I'll still watch because I love football. Don't get me wrong. I'm still watching pro football, but at the end of the day, I mean, you'd rather see some points on the board, and I appreciate a great defensive battle just as much as the next guy. But my gosh, I mean, the quality of play has just not been there at all for any offense. It seems like, I don't know what it is, but Thursday night's just been a kind of a curse, if you will.
Yeah, well, it worked in our favor opening day against the Rams.
Yeah.
Red, White, and Bill saying Chiefs secondary always gets away with holding. We'll see. We'll see this week if that holds true.
I hope not, Sean.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a lot of rookies out there, a lot of youngsters out there. So we could see, if they're being sticklers, these refs, we could see more penalties than we usually see.
Yep.
Let's see here. Let's go into the offensive comparisons because this is important for my prediction later on. A lot of times we get, oh, you're just homers. You think your team's going to win every game. I'm a tech guy. I'm going to show you data here. It's going to support.
I love it.
It's going to support my prediction later. I'm not just saying this because I love the Bills, but I'm giving you data to support this. So stay with me here. Let's go through the offense.
I'm a tech guy.
I'm a tech
That's
guy.
the quote of the day, baby. I love that.
I love data. Everything has to be supported by data and my job. So let's go. Now, on the offensive side, the Bills are scoring 30.4 points per game. They're ranked number 2. And you got the Chiefs scoring 31.8 points per game. They're ranked number 1. We've thrown 14 touchdown passes. That's Josh Allen. And Mahomes has thrown 15 passing touchdowns. We average 324 passing yards per game to Mr. Mahomes' 267.2 passing yards per game. We rushed the ball for 116.4. They rushed the ball for 114.2. Both those stats are inflated due to these two quarterbacks. Don't sleep on Mahomes. He can run. He actually can run. Looking back in that 13-second game last year, he actually outrushed Josh Allen by 1 yard.
Isn't that crazy? They were both the leading rushers for their teams, which is nuts. Leading passer, leading rusher. I mean, just accounting for majority of the offense as always.
So take a look here. Other than the points and the passing touchdowns, but Bills, look at the passing yards per game. Look at the rushing yards per game. We got the edge there. So let's move on to the defensive side of thing. And this is where it's a huge disparity. Not even close. Let's go. On the defensive side, Bills giving up 12.2 points per game. 12.2, Jake. That's insane. They are tied for first with the Niners, who are also playing damn good defense. Over there on the Chiefs side, what's that number? 25 points per game?
Yeah.
And they haven't seen the likes of Josh Allen and the Bills? Oh, my God. Mm-hmm. We're giving up 260.4 total yards per game. The Chiefs are giving up 339.2 total yards per game. Passing yards per game, we're giving up 182. They're giving up 255. And on the rushing side, we're giving up 77.8, basically 79 yards a game. We're ranked number 2. And actually, they're doing a pretty good job, the Chiefs, with Chris Jones there on the defensive line, making it tough to run. They're ranked 3rd, giving up 83.6. So I just showed you, both on the offense and the defense. The offense, kind of close. Still, I give the edge to the Bills based on the yardage. But the defense, not even close, Jake. Not even
so
close.
Far apart. Yeah.
Come on now. Come on. So I'm giving you some data there. So please keep that in mind when I get to my prediction. Thank you. Let's get into the MVPs. When Lamar was playing, let's just get this out of the way, Jake. These are the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL today. Yep. And then there are others. There are some that might be close, like Lamar. I can't throw shade on Lamar because we have 2 guys on our channel that are Ravens fans. My 10-year-old's a Raven fan. So I have to say this. I feel like I'm forced to. There's Lamar, but these two are the best, Jake.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, hands down. I mean, it's 1A and 1B, however you look at it. And yeah, I mean, and let me say something, Mike. So for people to say that the Brady Manning comparison for these two is laughable, I mean, you look at where Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were when they started this quote unquote rivalry, and it's very similar. I mean, Pat Mahomes already has a Super Bowl. Peyton Manning hadn't won a Super Bowl at that point. I mean, they really kind of started becoming that rivalry and like that '03 season where Peyton didn't win a Super Bowl till his like eighth or ninth year in the league. I mean, he came in the league in '98, didn't win till '06 when it was that Colts Bears Super Bowl. So it took him a while to get there. He was getting to the playoffs and, obviously was putting up the numbers and whatnot, but very similar to Josh. I know Peyton had a couple MVPs at that point. He won it in '03 and '04. Josh should have been. I mean, he's always been in the running at least. And then you have Pat Mahomes, who's already won a Super Bowl and sort of is playing that, I guess, the Brady side of things, right? Because he's got the accolades and all that good stuff. But I think for right now, it's like people want to see Josh take the monkey off his back and win one for once. So, for them to say that the rivalry is not even comparable, I think is totally ridiculous. I think at this point right now in their careers, it's very similar. So I don't know what people are talking about with that.
Yeah, for those listening that can't see the screens, I'm going to go through the numbers real quick. For passing yards, Josh Allen's thrown for 1,651 yards already. Unbelievable. On the other side, you got Patrick Mahomes. He's thrown for 1,398 yards. Josh Allen, the edge here. Rushing yards, Josh has 225 yards compared to Mahomes' 92 yards. You can say that's good or bad. You can take it. I could see the argument both ways, but Josh has more rushing yards. Look, they both can extend plays. They both can run. But Mahomes is not 245 pounds and will not run through tacklers like this guy over here on the left, Jake. Josh doesn't. We've seen it. We've seen him take on big guys and break tackles. Total touchdowns, Josh with the slight lead with his rushing touchdowns and his passing touchdowns. He's got 16 total to Mahomes' 15. They both have a very good completion percentage. Josh Allen with 66.8, and then on the other side, Mahomes is 66.7. I mean, it doesn't get any closer than that. Josh has thrown 4 interceptions compared to Mahomes 2. And then look at the QBR rating. Exactly the same, 78.5. It doesn't get any better. These are clearly the two best quarterbacks. So let's put that argument to rest. Unless you want to argue with me about this.
No, I'm not going to argue that. I mean, it's 100%. It's clear cut as all can be. I mean, and I think the gap is so far. I was really like hopeful with Justin Herbert coming into the season. And I know he's banged up. He's got the rib injury and whatnot. I think I'd still put him at 3 probably. Just based on, play this year. But it's, I think the gap is definitely there. I mean, it's very obvious right now who the 2 best quarterbacks in the league are, and it's fun. I mean, it's nice to have one of them. It's cool to see a Buffalo quarterback be recognized on, national media. I mean, not saying that I want more of that because I like being the underdog, but also at the same time, I mean, when was the last time we've ever had someone like that? Even Jim Kelly, and I know a different era, right? I mean, was he all over national media like Josh is? I mean, outside of him being in the Super Bowl, like, this is pretty cool. Like, we've had to go through a lot of guys to get here, and it's just fun, as a Bills fan, finally.
Yeah, I do want to say I see some folks out there in the channel, some of them being kind of quiet. I always ask, hey, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from. We saw some folks last week. We have somebody from the Netherlands, somebody from India. It was pretty cool. So introduce yourselves. And if you're new to the channel, I always say like, comment, and please drop a nickel on that subscribe button for us. We greatly appreciate that. So let's get into, so this is the current season right now, but let's look at the all-time comparison between these two guys. So head-to-head matchup history. This includes postseason. Wins, Josh has 1, Mahomes has 3. That should easily be 2 for each of them, right? That 13-second game. But hey, they got it done. Kudos to them. Mahomes has the slight edge there. Touchdowns to interceptions. Josh has thrown 11 touchdowns in this matchup and only 2 interceptions. Mahomes has thrown 10 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Passing yards. Josh Allen with 263.3 and Mahomes with an even 300 passing yards in these games between the two. Rushing yards, of course, you would expect Josh to have the edge, and he does, 64.3 yards rushing yards per game compared to Mahomes, 42.8. And then the passer rating, 105.1 for Josh, 108.1 for Mahomes. I mean, other than the win, he's got 2 more wins. And again, we know why that is. This is pretty damn close.
It's so close. It really is. I mean, you just look at these guys. It's like it's like a punching match almost. I mean, it's like who's gonna be the last one standing, pretty much. That's what it comes down to, and it's fun. I mean, you got to appreciate it. I think people didn't, I know some people did, but you talk about like the Tom Brady Peyton Manning rivalry, like you got to just appreciate that. I think that's so much fun to have a rivalry in sports like it. So let's embrace it and let's roll with it. I mean, this is going to be something that's going to be going on for a lot of years.
Yeah, I agree. So we're at that point where we're going to get into key matchups and pass the victory for both teams. But before we do, I want to play a clip from the Kyle Brandt show. He's got this basement show that he does, and Josh is signed up for the whole year with him. So after each game, actually before each game, Josh gets on with them, and they talk about the prior game and the upcoming game. And Kyle asked him, what's it like to play in Arrowhead? Is it the loudest? Besides your fan base, is it the loudest you've ever played at? And let me play that clip and stay with us a minute, but check it out. It's kind of interesting what Josh says here.
You're in your 5th year. You've been all around the league. Is Arrowhead, outside of your own stadium, is it the loudest place you play?
Yes, and I actually alluded to this last night. Someone asked me where my favorite place to play is, and I think it's got to be up there. The energy inside that building is awesome, and it can go to one of two ways, right? It could be the loudest stadium that you'll ever be in, or it could be the quietest stadium you'll ever be in. So like it's just this cool mix and match of, if you do your job and you can go out there and win a football game, the satisfaction that you get from, feeling that emotion and that energy from, a very passionate fan base. And I think, they're one of the better fan bases in the NFL. I still think Bills Mafia takes the cake there. But it is such a cool environment to be in because, again, it's pure football. People love football there. And it's football in its purest form.
So hopefully Kyle Brandt contacts me and says thank you for promoting my show. I haven't heard from him yet, but hopefully he does. But there was what I loved about what Josh said is it could be the loudest and it can be the quietest.
Mm-hmm.
And how can it be the quietest? You put up numbers on that board, you get a lead, and those fans are going to be pretty quiet. So let's go. Let's make it extremely quiet today at Arrowhead. I mean, what was it on that Monday night game against the Raiders, especially after that, roughing the passer call, which was just so wrong.
Oh, so ridiculous.
So wrong.
They got to figure that out, man.
They got so loud. I was like, damn, did they turn up the microphones or something? But no, Arrowhead's always brought it, and I respect that fan base. They're diehards like the Bills fans are. So, and again, we talked about that stadium. The stadium was built right around the same time Rich Stadium was built. So It's been around a long time. It's an old stadium. They're close, to the field, and they make it difficult.
You know what I love too? Like it's between two cities that are like the smaller market cities, right? You have Kansas City, you have Buffalo, both kind of similar in terms of like how they're so close knit with the team. Like tailgating's like elite at both locations. I mean, it's just the comparables go on and on and on and on, and I love that. Like it's been a rivalry throughout the history of the league, and for it to be back and in the limelight, I think it's super cool. So I'm pretty pumped about it, and I love it. I think it's super fun, and no hate towards the Chiefs. Listen, I think they are a really good football team, but yeah, it's time, Mike. It's time.
Uncle Jay says I got
He's got Aunt Lynn listening. Shout out to Aunt Lynn. Thank you for listening, guys. Appreciate the heck out of both of you. I know we got a couple other people listening. Dave Ring, shout out to you. I know you're listening out there. I don't know if you're still listening, but you had me on the TV at least. So Mike, I sent him the link. It was like 8 or 9 o'clock, and he sends me a picture, and he's got his TV up, and it just has our stream, and it's like, live in 2 hours or whatever it says, So hopefully we're still on. I think that's pretty awesome. I love to see it, and appreciate the heck out of you guys for supporting it. It's fun, and we're enjoying the ride here.
So Red, White, and Bill says, Mikey promised you wouldn't be PC. That's absolutely true. I'm waiting for the predictions. Just hold on, please. Hold on. Anyhow, let's start with you, Jake. I always do. Talk to me about key matchups for you, and then, basically pass the victory for both teams. We like to give the path to victory for the Bills, what they got to do, and if the Chiefs are going to beat us, what they got to do. So let me throw it to you.
Yeah, I think the biggest key matchup, of course, is Travis Kelce versus our defense. If we could stop Travis Kelce, anytime Travis Kelce doesn't produce, it seems like we win the game. I mean, you go back to last season during the regular season game, he only had, I think, 57 yards. He did still score, but it was kind of a garbage time touchdown. I mean, we shut him down. We brought Saran Neal in. We jammed him at the line. We got physical with him, and that's what you have to do. That's really the key to victory for us, I think, because this is a game where it's like whoever scores more points is going to win the game. And if we eliminate Travis Kelce, I mean, good luck with Pat Mahomes throwing to those other weapons. If they have to beat us, and I'm going to echo what Jay Spence said too on your show yesterday, Sean. If they have to beat us with Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Sky Moore and Justin Watson, good luck. Have fun with that, because if they do, I'll tip my cap and say, hey, job well done. I mean, we shut down Travis Kelce. You guys somehow still beat us with those other weapons like that. That's a true testament to how good your team is. However, I feel like you shut this guy down who just scored 4 touchdowns and is a Raiders killer. I mean, they call him Killer Trav for a reason. If there's a way to shut this guy down, I mean, it really like makes their offense struggle. And I feel like, especially with Pat Mahomes, really looking for Travis a lot more this year, just because that's his guy and it's Mr. Reliable. And he is the best tight end in football outside of Mark Andrews. I mean, it's really amazing what he's been able to do. So that is my key to victory right there, number one. Secondly, I mean, on our side, you got to take advantage of those rookie corners. You got to give protection up front, first off. I mean, that's a good front four that the Chiefs have, but let's let Josh sling it. Even if he doesn't have time, I mean, let's be real here. He can make some plays out in the open field. I mean, we have two number one receivers, Mike. I think it's safe to say Gabe Davis has proven himself. I know he's been banged up throughout the year here, but he looks more healthy at least. I don't know if he's officially healthy, but the guy is so damn good. I don't know if we'll have a repeat performance from last year, but I mean, if you're going to double one of them, the other guy's going to go off. So I feel like for them, it's going to be a tough matchup, and we're going to take them to class and school them all day. And then I guess I'll get right into my other side of it, right? So, like, we're talking about how the Chiefs could potentially win. I talked about Travis Kelce. I think for them also, not only just Travis Kelce, but their front four is so good. I mean, they have Chris Jones, who's been playing at a very high level. He's one of the better defensive tackles in the league, probably 2 or 3 on my list. You got Aaron Donald, Jeffrey Simmons, Chris Jones. Those are probably my top 3 guys right there. Then you have Frank Clark, and you have this kid, George Karlaftis. He is one of the best rookies in the league. I mean, that dude wreaks so much havoc. I mean, he's unbelievable. So we got to find a way to block him, and we got to figure that out, because our O-line, I feel like we've been doing just good enough. I'm not going to say we've been at an elite level by any means. And Aaron Cromer, Mike, I know I was talking him up like crazy. Man, I mean, today is a day that we need to give Josh some time to throw the football. So I think for them, if they can get in Josh's face and cause, him to panic a little bit, that's a way for them to potentially win, and that'll take a lot of pressure off those rookie corners.
So I put some pressure on Aaron Cromer. I actually submitted a claim like, hey, are you a fraud, buddy? Let's go. Step it up. I need to see something now. Jake sold me. I paid a lot of money for that extra coverage, and I submitted a claim. So let's go. Let's get that going.
Nice.
So for me, key matchups are that offensive line you mentioned. They haven't been stellar. Just keep Chris Jones away from Josh Allen, and Josh Allen will have a day. I'm not worried at all. I talked about this in the prediction. I am not worried about that defense one bit, except for Chris Jones. That's it. You keep him quiet. We kind of did that in the championship game not the championship game, the divisional game. We did a pretty good job on him, but do a good job on him. And then Kelce, I got to ask you, my God, how is it that this guy, you just can't stop him? What is up? Like, why can't they come up with a scheme, somebody, to at least slow him down? Now, if you looked at the stats, what did he have? Like 7 catches for 28 yards? You're like, damn, he did a fantastic job.
4 touchdowns.
But he had 4 touchdowns. Something I forgot to mention in the offensive comparisons is that the Chiefs, in the red zone, they score 78.26% of the time. And we only scored 55.56% of the time. So we need to get those red zone numbers up. But you can also say that we might have had bigger plays. We've been scoring from further out, right? We haven't helped. Last game, we had 2 over 50. Right? So that doesn't help you. So we'll keep – I'm fine with 55.5 if we're still putting up big numbers outside the 20. But we got to improve on that. That's what really hurt us in the Dolphin game. So for me, it's that O-line – and then it's just Diggs and Davis taking advantage of that secondary all day long. I totally agree with you. Gabe Davis can be a number one receiver for many teams in this league. We have a true number one receiver, maybe two, and the Chiefs don't. But so there's from past the victory, again, I just kind of said that. Take advantage of those corners for us. Take advantage of that secondary. Let Josh do his thing. And then past the victory from Mahomes and the Chiefs, they're going to just have to, they are probably going to be going for it on fourth down. They cannot be, they can't take any punts. They cannot punt the ball. They cannot turn the ball over. They're going to have to go toe-to-toe with us and hope that they have the ball last. That's the only thing that's going to help them. So anyhow, let's get into the predictions. And let me start with you, Jake, and then I'll get into mine. So I got a lot to say.
Yeah. Well, first off, I am so sick and tired of the national media crowning the Chiefs as this big, ferocious beast. Now, don't get me wrong. The Kansas City Chiefs are still a very well-coached team. They have some dogs on that team. As I mentioned, Travis Kelce, best tight end in the league outside of Mark Andrews. And then you have Pat Mahomes, who's still playing at an elite level. You have that front four, which is amazing. I mean, they are really, really good. Nick Bolton, good young linebacker. Justin Reed, very good young safety. Harrison Butker, when he's healthy, probably one of the best kickers in the league. Mike, I love my special teams, right? But He's not playing in this game. He's done. So let me tell you this. I am so fed up with it. I mean, you put the numbers out there, you put the stats out there, how our defense matches up to their defense, how our offense matches up to their offense. I mean, offense is close. Defense, I mean, we just totally blow them out of the water. And I'll tell you this, I really think everyone's making a bigger deal out of this whole situation where Pat Mahomes isn't favored for the first time ever at home. And as Sean said yesterday, I mean, when you're a Super Bowl favorite like the Bills, of course you're going to be favored in every game. Why wouldn't you be? So it's a 2.5-point favorite anyways. It's not that much, but I think we're going to smoke them. I think it's going to be 37-20 Bills. We're going to put this whole narrative to rest. I am so tired of that. Everyone's saying that the Chiefs are still this big bad wolf that we have to slay. And it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath. Josh Allen's going to come out of that game victorious. And I'll eat crow if I need to on the post-game show, but I feel pretty damn confident about this. We're just going to work them on all angles today. And I'll tell you what, once Pat Mahomes gets some pressure and once we take away Travis Kelce like we're gonna in this game, I don't know how we're going to do it, whether it's Taron Johnson, Saran Neal, whatever it may be, we're going to figure out a way to do that. And we're going to get a lot of pressure on Patty Mahomes, and that O-line is going to have a long day with that D-line in front of them. So I'm feeling pretty good about my score prediction. It was 38-20 last year in the regular season. This year, we're going to score one last point, 37-20 Bills.
Oh, I love it. We got some other folks. We got Tom saying he's predicting another overtime game.
That'd be fun, Tom. Listen, it's always fun to have a game that's close, close like that, and can get your heart racing a little bit. But I don't expect to see it.
And then we got Aunt Lynn saying 34-21 Buffalo. I love that one. I love it.
Uncle Jay, is that you typing or is that Aunt Lynn typing in third person? Because I want to know, and if it's you, Uncle Jay, I want to know your prediction.
Yeah. We got to get Bills are going to win by 10.
Okay, 34-24.
34.
All right,
24.
I like that.
All right. So for me, all right, listen, I've been listening. I always say this, Jake, I've told you since we've known each other, I always listen to the other side. And there was a podcast that I listened to that I had respect for until this past week, things that they've been saying. And so first of all, I've already presented to you the Bills are better. I showed you data. And again, I'm a data guy. I've given you that, right? But let's go through it real quick. The Bills are better. Here's why. Not only the data I gave you, supported that with, but we have, let's go through the positions real quick. I promise I'll be fast about this. Quarterbacks, I'll call it a wash. You want to tell me that Mahomes has all these angles that he can throw with his arm? Great. He can't run like Josh can, so there's a wash right there. Josh is also a fantastic passer, and he's getting better each year. I think it's crazy how he continues to elevate his game. Mm-hmm. Running game, let's call that a wash. Offensive line, I'll give you the center and the two guards on your side. I'll give you the edge there. Your tackles are going to struggle today. They're going to have we're going to feast over there. Let's just say that. I'll give you the edge on Kelce. Got to give you the edge. He's arguably, maybe when it's all said and done, one of the best tight ends ever. I don't know. Nobody can seem to stop him.
Absolutely.
But here's what I got really upset about. Listening to them tell me the receiving core, not even close. Buffalo, big disparity there. We have such a huge edge there. Do not tell me that because Tyreek Hill is gone. And now that Patrick Mahomes has to distribute the ball to more receivers, he has to go through more reads. More reads takes more time. You're not going to have time in this game. Do not tell me. If you have to say to yourself, oh, we're a better team now because Tyreek's gone and he's distributing the ball more, that's like, if that makes you feel better and makes you sleep better at night, by all means. I've been there. It kind of makes me feel like that girlfriend in high school who dumped me. And she dumped me and she said, hey, I have to focus on my grades, Mike. So I have to let you go. So knowing that she's focusing on her grades made it better for me to sleep. But then I find out a month later that she found somebody else.
She's dating someone else.
So don't insult my intelligence by telling me you're a better team without Tyreek Hill. You are not. Tyreek Hill is there any bigger game changer? We've seen it in person. We've seen it in big games. There is nobody bigger as far as a game changer goes. So please don't insult my intelligence by telling me that bull crap. It's absolutely bull crap. On the defensive side, it's easy. There is no edge on their side. It's all Buffalo. Give me a break. I showed you the data on the defensive side. We're giving up like 12 points per game. They're giving up 25. They're going to give up over 30 today. Absolutely. If this was in Buffalo, this is easily for me a double-digit victory. Big double-digit. I'm talking 2 touchdowns. But I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to be a little respectful, and I'm going to say Bills 34 and Chiefs 27. Keep it a 7-point game. But that last 7 points comes when there's no time left on the clock whatsoever. It's just garbage. We've got our backups in there just playing prevent, and they score with like 3 seconds to go. I won't say 13. Nice. I won't give them 13 seconds. We're going to let them score with like 2 seconds to go.
I like what my dad said earlier. He said the Bills win by 13, just to add insult to injury. 33-20 is what he said.
I love it. And then on top of that, check this out. The same podcast telling me that, the Bills have played no offenses. We played nobody who has an offense. We don't disrespect the Super Bowl champs defending. Yeah, they're struggling, but they still have a lot of talent there. Don't disrespect the Dolphins offense. Don't disrespect Lamar Jackson, and certainly don't disrespect the Tennessee Titans. I mean, come on. We've played nobody with offense, Jake, but they have. Right, and they're going to take
injury riddled on the defensive side of the ball.
Oh my God!
I mean, we've had to go into the practice squad and bring guys up. I mean, don't give me that crap. I agree, Mike. I think that's all bull crap for sure.
I mean, I'm heated right now. I subscribe to these channels. I like to listen to them when they started coming up with that BS. I mean, I just clicked that little unsubscribe. I don't unsubscribe from channels. It's really hard to get me to do that. But when they're starting to throw that BS out there, and I was so tempted to get in their live chat, but I'm like, no, I'll keep that for our own show. So again, Bills are better. I know it. Jake knows it. Vegas knows it. And now America's going to know it, man. They're going to know it after this game. Let's go.
Wow. I'm going to go run through a wall. I mean, one of these TVs might be in jeopardy behind me now, Mike. I don't know. I mean, I got a table over here. Maybe I'll jump on the table. I'm already 2 beers in. Let's have ourselves a day.
Oh, man.
Holy
Let's
smokes.
go. Let's go. And again, just like you, if I have to eat my words, I will. I'm okay with that. This is how confident I feel about this team. And again, I'm not just saying this as a homer. I've given you the data to support what I just said. So please. Anyhow, let me throw it to you. Talk a little bit, Jake. I'm a little heated. I got to calm down a little bit.
Well, no, I mean, you just hit the nail right on the head. I think it's frustrating as a Bills fan base to continue to watch. And I get it. Like, they have to get ratings and whatnot, but like, just stop it. Like, do you really feel that this KC team is better than the Bills? Luckily the Raiders are total choke artists because I'll tell you this. I mean, they lose that game last week if Josh McDaniels doesn't go for 2. I mean, he went for 2 with 4 minutes and 27 seconds left in the game. And then you have other games. They lost to the Colts, which I don't know how the hell that happened, but they had the recipe. I don't know what they did. I actually didn't even really watch a ton of that game because I was at the Miami game when that happened. I don't see it. I really don't see it. And I get you trying to make an argument. I know they have some good players still. And again, it's no disrespect to the Chiefs, but let's be realistic here. The Bills are going to win this game today, and there's no doubt in my mind it's going to happen. And I can't wait for the postgame show, Mike. I'm so pumped for that.
Yeah, same here. Let's go through some of the other folks. We got Antonio out there. Good to see you. He's coming big. I love this. 42-24 Bills. Let's go.
With the buffalo emoji. Just going to roll right over him like a stampede.
Oh man, did you see on social media somebody beautiful artist? I don't know. They had a big bison and they had I think it was Josh Allen on top of him or riding him, and he's asking which way to Arrowhead. And it's just,
that's awesome.
It was amazing. I should have brought that on to show everybody. Let's see what else we got here. We got Tom saying praying hardest for an injury-free game. Yeah, we always want that.
Absolutely.
And what else we got here? Yeah, also Titans are a field goal away from being 4-1. Absolutely. So don't disrespect the teams that we played, saying we've played nobody with an offense. Come on now. Let's see. Did I get everyone else? Yeah. Big L's like, Mike, I love your attitude. Yeah, I told the guys, gloves are off today. I'm so tired of trying to be PC, politically correct, and not offend the other. Look, I respect the Chiefs fan base. Absolutely. And I'm sorry if this is going to offend anyone, but get over here and support your team. Come on. We love all fans.
There might be a couple Chiefs fans out there watching. I got some guys. I'm in a group text. I failed to mention them, and I'm so sorry. If the Quackenbushes are watching this right now, shout out to you guys. You guys are they're both from Kansas City, diehard Chiefs fans. And I sent them the link, and I said, boys, I just want you to know we're doing a show on how to dethrone the Chiefs today. And they said that they already lost interest when they read that text. But they asked what time it was at. So I don't know if they're still watching, but if they are, drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, and we got 13 people out there watching right now. So, again, we greatly appreciate you dropping a nickel on that subscribe button. So, Jake, I don't know what I'm going to do. We got a lot of time.
I'm going to go bury my Priest Holmes jersey in the back of the yard.
Oh, let's go.
Right in the backyard. I'm going to take a shovel.
Can you record it?
Bury it.
Let's record that, and then let's just play that.
I like Priest Holmes. That's one of my guys from back in the day, but I do have a Priest Holmes jersey, but I'll tell you what, I'm feeling a little dangerous today, Mike. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to do it.
Let's be fair. Let's be honest. You can't your jerseys mean a lot to you. There's a reason why.
I got over 70 some odd. Now, listen,
most
I'm
of them have a story.
Fan, but yeah. As a kid growing up, I collected these things, so I do admittedly have a Priest Holmes jersey back there. So maybe I just part ways with it today.
All right. Well, that does it. We will see you on the post game, hopefully with a big celebration. Hopefully the history was fun for you guys. Jake and I thought it would be fun to go back and just kind of also show that, yes, we want this game. But if we don't get this game, I don't want any of you, jumping from, in the middle of the street because you're upset or whatever, losing it or whatever. Just know that there's the playoffs. But we're going to get this one and be looking in our rear view mirror at the Chiefs, right? Let's go. Go Bills. We'll see you soon. Jake, you good?
I'm good, Mike. I'm ready.
All right, let's go. Go Bills.
What time do we got? Yes. 12:14. We got a lot of time left.
9:14. I got a lot of time. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll find something. I got to go watch these other 10 o'clock games. Well, it's 10 o'clock over here on the West Coast. But let's go. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon. Let's go. Go Bills.
Go Bills, baby.